Welcome, everybody. The judges are getting the scoring sheet lined up. Thank you all for being here. For some of the families, it's their first poetry recitation involving the gym and the pressure and stress. It's good stress that can come from that. So welcome and enjoy this. In a moment, I'll introduce the judges and explain what's going on today. But what I'd like to do is we lost a dear member of our school community, so I'd like to lead us in a moment of silence. And some of our seventh graders will be going off to Mr. Lipshitz's memorial service at Temple Particular today, and some of the eighth graders and sixth graders will be going as well. So please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. What will happen today is the fifth graders will go, and then we'll take a stretch break. We'll stand and stretch. If you really need a bathroom, go fast. And then we'll settle down for the sixth grade. And if parents, if you can stick around for the whole fifth grade or the whole sixth grade, that would be great, not interrupt. I'd ask you to put your cell phones on either silence or vibrate. And what I want to do was feel the stress, the pressure the student reciting. So I wrote a little poem and memorized it. And here's my poem. Happy birthday to you, Tosh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tosh. Happy birthday to you. Not really reciting birthday, Tosh. Those are the ground rules. The judges are ready, and I'll start. Mr. Rohde, Adam Rohde, is down. He's the head of Greenwich Country Day School for 20 years. And Greenwich Country Day during this time has grown to almost 1,500 students, 1,445. It's the biggest school, private school in Connecticut. And really quite remarkable. A lot of the growth is because Mr. Rohde has been there as they absorbed two other schools and built the co-ed day school in Greenwich. What's really remarkable is that is a very good school system. And Mrs. McGrady and I know that because we went to the Greenwich Public Schools, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Mr. Rohde also teaches history and coaches middle school basketball. And how he finds time for that, I don't know. He has 3 children, lives in Greenwich with his wife, and made the drive up from a very busy school to be with us. Mr. Rohde, thank you. And Mr. Rohde and I both went to Wesleyan. We have Wesleyan in common. Lori Fazio also has Wesleyan in common. She's a chief operating officer of a place many of you heard. Raise your hand if you've heard of R.J. Julia Bookseller. Yeah. I should ask, how many years have you been devoted to R.J. Julia?
17.
17, and now there's a Wesleyan R.J. Julia as well, and they also affiliate with a bookstore in Long Island, East Hampton. And although she's a math major in college, she's a lover of reading. Favorite poet is Mary Oliver. I don't think there's a Mary Oliver poem. Is there? Did anyone think of Mary Oliver and not do Mary Oliver next? Tomorrow we have Mary Oliver. That's great. Anyway, this is first time that Lori Fazio is judge. So thank you for coming to do this with us. Larissa.
My name is Larissa Sullivan. Happy to be introducing 2 former country school parents and returning judges. Liz Meyer, known at country school as Liz Gade, with her 3 children. She has been here judging before, and she is full cat at it. Parent to 3 alumni: Jake, class of 08, Robbie, 12, and Alice, 15. From their country school humble beginnings, Jake has gone on to be a sportscaster on TV in Sacramento after graduating from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. Rob is an engineer at Florida Light and Power and graduate of the University of Miami Engineering School. And Alice, both of those former students of mine, is finishing her final year of a 5-year program at Northeastern, majoring in industrial engineering and minoring in math and sustainability. Raise your hand if you know what that means. There you go. Liz is a financial advisor with Wells Fargo Advisors in Madison. She is a resident of Old Saybrook. She is a triathlete, a yogi, and everything. And we're glad to have her back. Thank you. And another proud mom, Sheila Salkin. 20 years were consumed with all things country school. She is the mother to Bianca, class of 06, Francesca, 08, Gabriella, 10, and Andre, class of 16. Longtime volunteer. She ran many successful auctions and fundraisers, she served as a room parent. She even filled in as our school nurse. It's no wonder that the Esteemed Volunteer Award was named after Sheila. Her connections to country school don't end on campus. Your family socializes with our families, even vacationing together, and you're thrilled to judge any class again. Thank you. You might recognize Mrs. Salkin at Chowbella in Madison. Thank you for being here. I have to apologize for an oversight when I created the program. Sam Collins, where are you? I'm so sorry, buddy. So Sam Collins, if you look at your program, third line is Lucy Clark, and Sam's name is listed at the end. Someday he might be a poet, but right now he is not. He will be reciting And There Are Ghosts by Ben Wesley. Sorry, buddy. First poetry recitation of my life.
What we now do is we turn over to Mrs. Bowell and Mrs. Kelly, and they'll keep it pace. So they're all in yours, fifth grade. Good luck.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Lusberg, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day, rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words have forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way, do not go gentle into that good night. Brave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears. I pray, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Thank you.
Well done, Andrew. I should have explained that what Mrs. Kelly and Mrs. Ballard will do is notice, and when the judges have passed all their sheets to Mr. Rhodey, he's passed them back to Mrs. Brady to score, then Mr. Rhodey will give the nod, and feel free to move them along a little quicker. All
Good morning. My name is Juliana Paolucci, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Keep Going by Edgar A. Guest. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, and the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the depths are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late, when the night slipped down, how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lucy Clark, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is The Forest for the Trees by Rena Priest. I have seen a tree split in two from the weight of its opposing branches. It can survive, though its heart is exposed. I have seen a country do this too. I have heard an elder say that we must be like the willow, bend not to break. I have made peace this way. My neighbors clear-cut their trees, leaving mine defenseless. The arborist says they'll fall in the first strong wind. Together we stand. I see this now. I have seen a tree grown around a bicycle, a street sign, and a chainsaw, absorbing them like ingredients in a great melting pot. When we speak, whether or not we agree, the trees will turn the breath of our words from carbon dioxide into air. Give us new breath for new words, new chances to listen, new chances to be heard. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sam Collins, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is And There Are Ghosts by Ben Westfly. At night, you can hear them talking about when they were alive, when it was them sleeping in the room you now lie down in. Shut your eyes in, to depart yourself for just a few hours. Sometimes they sound angry, causing pipes to shout and floors to creak, and you can't help but hear breathing, which you tell yourself is just the air finding the cracks in the window frame. Why shouldn't they display such bitterness? You're the body, the life, the memory. You get to still feel you have the time they envy. You hold tighter to the warmth that is your shield. You hope the furnace will stop making footstep sounds outside your door. Silently call for sleep to seduce you. But most of all, you try to stay very happy. If they do enter your room, it is the very heat your body releases when you feel the joy that they glide into, becoming undead. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kyle Jacobson, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Ode to My Socks by Pablo Neruda. Maru Mori brought me a pair of socks knitted with her shepherd-hooded hands, 2 socks as soft as rabbits. I slid my feet into them as though into 2 cases knitted with threads of twilight and goatskin. Violent socks. My feet were 2 fish made of wool, 2 sharks sea blue, shot through by 1 golden thread, 2 immense blackbirds, 2 cannons. My feet were honored in this way by these heavenly socks. They were so handsome. For the first time, my feet seemed to be unacceptable, like 2 decrepit firemen, 2 firemen unworthy of that woven fire of those glowing socks. Nevertheless, I resist the sharp temptation to keep them somewhere, as schoolboys keep fireflies. As learned men collect sacred texts, I resist the mad impulse to put them in a golden cage and each day give them bird seeds and pink melon, like explorers in the jungle who just hand over their very rare green deer to the spit and eat it with remorse. I stretch out my feet and pull my magnificent socks, then my shoes. The moral of my ode is this: beauty is twice beauty, and what is good is doubly good, when in the matter of 2 socks made of wool in winter. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mila Saad, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Days by Billy Collins. Each one is a gift, no doubt, mysteriously placed in your waking hand or set upon your forehead, moments before you open your eyes. Today begins cold and bright, the ground heavy with snow, in the thick masonry of ice, the sun glinting off the turrets of clouds. Through the calm eye of the window, everything seems in its place, but so precariously this day might be resting somehow on the one before it. All the days of the past stacked high like the impossible tower of dishes entertainers used to build on stage. No wonder you find yourself perched on top of the ladder, hoping to add one more. Just another Wednesday, you whisper, then holding your breath, place this cup on yesterday's saucer without the slightest clink. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fiona Wepler, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Songs for the People by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let me make the songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry whenever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage, nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make the songs for the weary amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax their tension and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float o'er life's highway. Let me sing for the poor and aged before shadows dim their sight, of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music pure and strong to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grow tender. Girdle the world with peace. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Emily Antman, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Banana School by Billy Collins. The day I learned that monkeys, as well as chimps, baboons, and gorillas, all peel their bananas from the other end and use the end we peel from as a handle, I immediately made the switch. I wasted no time in passing this wisdom on to family, friends, and even strangers, as I am now passing it on to you. A tip from the top: the banana scoop, the inside primate lowdown. I promise, once you try it, you will never go back, except to regret the long error of your ways. And if you do not believe me, swing by the local zoo some afternoon with a banana in your pocket, and try peeling it in front of the cage of an orangutan or a capuchin monkey. And as you begin, notice how they stop what they're doing, if they're doing anything at all, to nod their brotherly approval through the bars. Better still, try it out on the big silverback gorilla. See him get his dark eyes to brighten a bit as the weight of him sits there in his cage, the same way Gertrude Stein is sitting in that portrait of her she never liked by Picasso. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Edward Brownie, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Start Where You Stand by Burn Briley. Start where you stand and never mind the past. The past won't help you in beginning new. If you have left the old behind at last, why, that's enough. You're done with it. You're through. This is another chapter in the book. This is another race that you have planned. Don't give the vanished days a backward look. Start where you stand. The world won't care about your old defeats. If you can start anew and win success, the future is your time, and time is fleet. And there is much of work and strain and stress. Forget the buried woes and dead despairs. Here is a brand new trial right at hand. The future is for him who does and dares. Start where you stand. Old failures will not halt. Old triumphs aid. Today's the thing tomorrow soon will be. Get in the fight and face it unafraid. What has been, has been. Yesterday is dead. And by it you are neither blessed nor banned. Take courage, man. Be brave and drive ahead. Start where you stand. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nebtir Dina, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Inventing a Horse by Megan O'Rourke. Inventing a horse is not easy. One must not only think of the horse, one must stake fence posts around him. One must include a place where horses like to live, or do so when they live as humans like you. Slowly, you must walk him through the cold, feed him bran mash, apples, accustom him to the harness, holding in mind even when you are tired. Harnesses, tack cloths, and saddle oils to keep the saddle as clean as a face in the sun. One must imagine teaching him to run over the knuckles of tree roots, not to be skittish at the first sight of timber wolves, and not to grow thin in the city, where at some point you will have to live. One must imagine the absence of money. Most of all, though, the living weight and the sound of his feet on the needles. And since he is heavy and real and might be tired after a run down the river with a light whip at his side, one must imagine love in the mind that does not know love, an animal mind, a love that does not depend on your image of it, your understanding of it, indifferent to all that it lacks. A muzzle, two black eyes looking the day away, a field empty of everything but witch grass, fluent trees, and some piles of hay. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Avery Hill, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Do You Remember the Beach by Anna Blandiana. Do you remember the beach covered with splintered glass? That beach where we could not walk barefoot. And the way you would gaze at the sea and gaze all absorbed and say, You were listening to me? Do you remember the gulls going wild, wheeling round and round as bells chimed out behind us somewhere in churches that had fish for their patron saints?
and how you headed away at a run toward the surf, yelling back that you needed distance to be able to see me. Then the gulls, the swirl of the snow, the spray, all of them mingled, and I would look on with a kind of desperate elation as your feet marked the sea that would close like an eyelid then, where I waited and looked. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Benjamin Nathanson, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Be a Friend by Edgar Guest. Be a friend. You don't need money, just a disposition. Sunny, just a wish to help another get along some way or other. Just a kindly hand extended out to one who's unbefriended. Just a will to give or lend, this will make you someone's friend. Be a friend. You don't need glory. Friendship is a simple story, passed by trifling errors blindly. Gaze on honest effort kindly. Cheer the youth who's bravely trying. Pity him who's sadly sighing. Just a little labor spent on the duties of a friend. Be a friend. The pay is bigger, though not written by a figure. It is earned by people clever, which is merely self-endeavor. You'll have friends instead of neighbors, for the profits of your labors. You'll be richer in the end than a prince if you're a friend. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Liv Killam, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is In Praise of Mystery, a poem for Europa by Ada Limon. Arching under the night sky, inky with black expansiveness, we point to the planets we know. We pin quick wishes on stars. From Earth, we read the sky as if it is an unerring book of the universe, expert and evident. Still, there are mysteries below our sky. The whale song, the songbird singing its call in the bough of a wind-shaken tree. We are creatures of constant awe, curious at beauty, at leaf and blossom, at grief and pleasure, sun and shadow. And it is not darkness that unites us, not the cold distance of space, but the offering of water, each drop of rain, each rivulet, each pulse, each vein. O second moon, we too are made of water, of vast and beckoning seas. We too are made of wonders, of great and ordinary loves, of small, invisible worlds, of a need to call out through the dark. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Naomi Kearney, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Eastern Standard Time by Billy Collins. Poetry speaks to all people, it is said, but here I would like to address only those in my own time zone, this proper slice of longitude that runs from pole to snowy pole, down the globe, through Montreal to Bogota. O fellow inhabitants of this singular band, sitting up in your many beds this morning, the sun falling through the windows and casting a shadow on the sundial. Consider those in other zones who cannot hear these words. They are not slipping into a bathrobe as we are, or following the smell of coffee in a timely fashion. Rather, they are at work already, leaning on copy machines or hammering nails into a house frame. They are not swallowing a vitamin like us. Rather, they are smoking a cigarette under a half moon, even jumping around on a dance floor, or just now sliding under the covers, pulling down the little chains on their bed lamps. But we are not like these others, for at this very moment on the face of the earth, we are standing under a hot shower, or we are eating our breakfast, considered by people of all zones to be the most important meal of the day. Later, when the time is right, we might sit down with the boss, wash the car, or linger at a candlelit table. But now is the hour for pouring the juice and flipping the eggs with one eye on the toaster. So let us slice a banana and uncap the jam, lift our brimming spoons of milk, and leave it to the others to lower a flag, or spin absurdly in a barber's chair. Those antipodal oddballs, always early or late. Let us praise Sir Stanford Fleming, the Canadian genius who first scored with these lines the length of the spinning earth. Let us move together through the rest of this day, passing in unison from light to shadow, coasting over the crest of noon and into the valley of the evening, and then, holding hands, slip into the deeper valley of night. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Oliver Malloy, and the poem that I will be reciting for you today is The Lay for the Troubled Golfer by Edgar Albert Guest. His eye was wild, and his face was taut with anger and hate and rage. And the things he muttered were much too strong for the ink of the printed page. I found him there when the dusk came down, and his golf clothes still was he, and his clubs were strewn around his feet as he told his grief to me. I'd an 85 for a 79 in sight of the golden goal. An easy 5, and I took an 8 on the 18th hole. I've dreamed my dreams of the 70 men, and I've worked year after year. I have vowed I would stand with the chosen few near the end of my golf career. I've cherished the thought of a 70 score, and the days have come and gone, and I've never been so close to the golden goal my heart was set upon. But today I stood on the 18th tee and counted that score of mine, In my pulses race with a thrill of joy. I'd have 5 for 79. I could kick the ball from the 18th tee and get this hole in 5, but I took a wood and I tried to cross the ditch with a mighty drive. Let us end the quotes. It's best for us all to imagine his language rich. But he topped that ball, as we often do, and the pill stopped in the ditch. His third was short, and his fourth was bad, and his fifth was off the line. And he took an 8 on the 18th hole with a 5 for a 79. I gathered his clubs and took his arm, and alone in the locker room, I left him sitting upon the bench, a picture of grief and gloom. And the last man came and took a shower and hurried upon his way, but still he sat with his head bowed down like one with a mind astray. And he counted his scorecard o'er and o'er and muttered this doleful whine. I took an 8 on the 18th hole with a 5 for a 79. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lucas Ferguson Cormier, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Mannahatta by Walt Whitman. I was asking for something specific and perfect for my city, whereupon lo, up sprang the aboriginal name. Now I see what there is in a name, a word, liquid, sane, unruly, musical, self-sufficient. I see that the word of my city is that word from of old, because I see that word nested in nests of water bays, superb, rich, hemmed thick all around with sailships and steamships, an island 16 miles long. Solid founded, numberless crowded streets, high growths of iron, slender, strong, light, splendidly uprising towards clear skies, tides swift and ample, well loved by me. Towards sundown, the flowing sea currents, the little islands, the larger adjoining islands, the heights, the villas, the countless masts, the white shore steamers, the lighters, the ferry boats, the Black Sea steamers well modeled, the downtown streets, the jobber's house of business, the house of business of the ship merchants and money brokers, the river streets. Immigrants arriving, 15 or 20,000 in a week. The summer air, the bright sun shining, and the sailing clouds aloft. The winter snows, the sleigh bells, and the broken ice in the river, passing along up or down with the flood tide or ebb tide. Trottoirs thronged, vehicles, Broadway, the women, the shops and shows, a million people, manners free and superb, open voices, hospitality, the most courageous and friendly young men. City of hurried and sparkling waters, city of spires and masts, city nested in bays, my city. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Emma Pucciato, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Portrait by Billy Collins. After she swiveled on a heel and headed with a flip of the ponytail toward Grand Central Station, I watched her disappear into the crowd the way a forest may disappear into its trees. And then I too began to disappear, a scrivener's eraser rubbing out the pencil lines of my being. And now neither of us was here nor there and would fail to make our mark on the history of civilization. And that reminded me of the day I stood in a museum before a somber painting, then bent close to read the little printed card. They told me it was a portrait of an anonymous Dutch family by an anonymous Dutch artist. Thank you.
I want our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade students. 5th, 6th, and 8th grade students, notice for a second, I'm gonna ask a question. Adults, if you do public speaking in your professional or personal lives, would you just raise your hand for students? Yeah. It's about poetry, but it's also about having the poise to talk in front of an audience. And it's one thing to rehearse in front of your classmates, quite another to rehearse in front of some strangers. So 5th grade, that's as strong as I ever remember it. So would you please rise so we can congratulate you? Let's take a 5-minute break, but I want to give the 6th graders dibs on the bathrooms. So if the teacher can let them into Blatchford, that would be good. And let's reserve the 2 bathrooms in the back, 2 bathrooms up here for our adult friends. But 5 minutes, be on back, 5 minutes. We'll head to our seats in about a minute, okay? So enjoy your conversation. Come on back. I'm looking at my fellow head, Mr. Rohde. You know what? I'm never on this stage. I'm on the stage for graduation. It's intimidating up here. It really is. I'm usually on the ground level, and you're looking at people in the eye. Congratulations, 5th grade, and I know 6th grade's about to go. And they're all your students, same routine, and we'll walk right through the 6th grade. And Ms. Lamaki, I want to say the microphones are terrific. Some years ago, the English department talked about it and thought sometimes students whose voices were still developing were disadvantaged because they didn't project as well despite their best efforts. So the technology allows it to amplify the voice just as much as it needed. So generally, the voices have about the same loudness. That's not the right term for it. But thank you for that, Mr. Lamaki. All right.
Good morning. My name is Simone Nelson, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Try to Praise the Mutilated World, written by Adam Zagajewski and translated by Claire Cavanna. Try to praise the mutilated world. Remember June's long days? And wild strawberries, and drops of rosé wine. The nettles that methodically overgrow the abandoned homesteads of exiles. You must praise the mutilated world. You've watched the stylish yachts and ships go by. One of them had a long journey ahead of it, while salty oblivion awaited the other. You've seen the refugees going nowhere. You've heard the executioners sing joyfully. You should praise the mutilated world. Remember the times when we were together in a white room and the curtain fluttered? Return in thought to the concert where music flared. You gathered acorns in a park in autumn, and leaves eddied over the earth's scars. Praise the mutilated world. And the gray feather a thrush lost, and the gentle light that strays and vanishes and returns. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Quinn Freeman, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Praise Song for the Day by Elizabeth Alexander. Each day we go about our business, walking past each other, catching each other's eye or not, about to speak or speaking. All about us is noise. All about us is noise and bramble, thorn and din, each one of our ancestors on our tongues. Someone is stitching up a hem, darning a hole in a uniform, patching a tire, repairing the things in need of repair. Someone is trying to make music somewhere, with a pair of wooden spoons on an oil drum, with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice. A woman and her son wait for the bus. A farmer considers the changing skies. A teacher says, "Take out your pencils. Begin." We encounter each other in words, words spiny or smooth, whispered or declaimed, words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads and highways that mark the will of someone, and then others who said, "I need to know what's on the other side. I know there's something better down that road. We need to find a place where we are safe. We walk into which we cannot yet see." Say it plain, many have died for this day. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here, who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce, built brick by brick the glittering edifices they would then keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for struggle. Praise song for the day. Praise song for every hand-lettered sign, the figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by, love thy neighbor as thyself. Others by, first, do no harm, or take no more than you need. But what if the mightiest word is love? Love beyond mortal, filial, national. Love that casts a widening pool of light. Love with no need to preempt grievance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be done, any sentence begun, on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp. Praise song for walking forward in that light. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Neil Pawani, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Stone by Charles Simic. Go inside a stone, that would be my way. Let somebody else become a devil, gnashed with the tiger's tooth. I am happy to be a stone. From outside a stone is a riddle. No one knows how to answer it, yet within it must be cool and quiet. Even though a cow steps on it at full weight and child throws it in a river, the stone sinks, slow, up turbine to the river bottom, where fishes come to knock on it and listen. I've seen sparks come out of two stones when rubbed, so perhaps it's not dark inside a stone after all. Perhaps the moon shining from somewhere, as if behind a hill, with just enough light to make it the star charts on the inner walls. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Oakley Milligan, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Ex-Basketball Player by John Updike. Pearl Avenue runs past the high school lot, bends with the trolley tracks, and stops, cut off, before it has a chance to go 2 blocks. At Colonel McCumsky's Plaza, Berth's garage is on the corner, facing west, and there, most days, you'll find Flick Webb, who helps Berth out. Flick stands tall among the idiot pumps, 5 on a side, the old bubblehead style, their rubber elbows hanging loose and low. One's nostrils are 2 S's, and his eyes an E and an O, and one is squat, without a head at all, more of a football type. Once Flick played for the high school team, the Wizards. He was good, in fact, the best. In 46, he bucketed 390 points, a county record still. The ball loved Flick. I saw him rack up 38 or 40 in one home game. His hands are like wild birds. He never learned a trade. He just sells gas, checks oil, and changes flats. Once in a while, as a gag, he dribbles an inner tube. But most of us remember anyway. His hands are fine and nervous on the lug wrench. It makes no difference to the lug wrench, though. Off work, he hangs around May's luncheonette, grease, gray, and kind of coiled. He plays pinball, smokes those thin cigars, and nurses lemon phosphates. Flick seldom says a word to May, just nods beyond her face toward bright, applauding tears of Necco wafers, nibs, and juju beads. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nora Stern, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is The Testy Pony by Zachary Scumberg. I am given a pony for my birthday, but it is the wrong kind of pony. It is the kind of pony that won't listen. It is testy. When I ask it to go left, it goes right. When I ask it to run, it sleeps on its side in the tall grass. So when I ask it to jump us over the river into a field where I've never been before, I have every reason to believe it will fail, and we will be swept down the river to our deaths. This is my fate for which I am prepared for. The blame of our death will rest with the testy pony, and for that I will be remembered with great reverence, and the pony will be remembered with great anger, but with me on its back. The testy pony rears and approaches the river with unfettered bravery. Its leap is glorious. It clears the river with ease, not even getting its pony hoofs wet. There we are, on the other side of the river. The pony circling, looking for something to eat in the dirt. Real trust is to do so in the face of clear doubt. and trust is to love. This is my failure, and for that, I cannot be forgiven. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jonah McDonough, and the poem that I will be reciting for you today is Can't by Edgar Albert Guest. Can't is the worst word that's written or spoken, doing more harm here than slander and lies. On it is many a strong spirit broken, and with it many a good purpose dies. It springs from the lips of the thoughtless each morning and robs us of courage we need through the day. It rings in our ears like a timely sent warning and laughs when we falter and fall by the way. Can't is the father of feeble endeavor, the parent of terror and half-hearted work. It weakens the efforts of artisans clever and makes of the toiler an indolent shirk. It poisons the soul of the man with the vision. It stifles in infancy many a plan. It greets honest toiling with open derision and mocks at the hopes and the dreams of a man. Can't is a word none should speak without blushing. To utter, it should be a symbol of shame. Ambition and courage it daily is crushing. It blights a man's purpose and shortens his aim. Despise it with all of your hatred and error. Refuse it the lodgment it seeks in your brain. Arm against it as a creature of terror, and all that you dream of you someday shall gain. Can't is the word that is foe to ambition, an enemy ambushed to shatter your will. Its prey is forever the man with the mission, and bows but to courage and patience and skill. Hate it with hatred that's deep and undying, for once it is welcome 'twill break any man. Whatever the goal is you're seeking, keep trying, and answer this demon by saying, I can. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Madeline Sharp, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Snow Day by Billy Collins. Today we woke up to a revolution of snow, its white flag waving over everything. The landscape vanished, not a single mouse to punctuate the blankness. And beyond these windows, government buildings smothered, schools and libraries buried, the post office lost under the noiseless drift. The paths of trains softly blocked, the world fallen under this falling. In a while, I will put on some boots and step out like someone walking in water, and the dog will porpoise through the drifts, and I will shake a laden branch, sending a cold shower down on us both. But for now, I am willing prisoner in this house, a sympathizer for the Antarctic cause of snow. I will make a pot of tea and listen to the plastic radio on the counter, as glad as anyone to hear the news. That the kitty corner school is closed, the ding-dong school is closed, along with some will be delighted to hear. The toadstool school, the little school, the peas and carrots day school. And now I am listening hard in the grandiose silence of snow, trying to hear what three girls are plotting, which riot is afoot, which small queen is about to be brought down. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jimmy Oganeski, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is 59 by Harry Baker. 59 wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, realizes all of his hair is on one side of his head, finds some clothes and gets dressed, can't help but look in the mirror and be subtly impressed. How he looks rough around the edges, he's still casually messed, looks out the window and sees that he's blessed with 60 from across the street. Now 60 was beautiful, dressed in something suitable, never rude or crude at all, unimprovable, but liked to play it super cool. While 59 admired 60's perfectly round shape, 60 thought 59 was odd. And though at the time he felt stupid and dumb that he loved 60, just take 59 away from 60, and you're left with 1. So yeah, it took him 2 months of moping around, but 61 days later, 61 was who he found. His next-door neighbor, he went around to her house, 'cause he had lost his keys and her parents were out. She laughed, "I'm 61." He giggled, I'm 59. And today, I've had a nice time. So I was wondering, tomorrow, if you want, you could come over to mine. So they agreed on this unofficial first date. In the end, he was only 1 minute early, but it was fine because she arrived 1 minute late. From then on, it was nonstop chatter. How they loved talking about X factors, how they only had 2 factors. From now, the relationship deepened. 59 told 61, "You're 61 and I'm 59. Turned around and upside down, that's 1965. The year that one might get a job to the day they retire. Of course, it'll work for us, because we've got the world to be inspired." Then 61 told 59, "You're 59 and I'm 61. And combined, that's twice what 60 would ever be." Right now, 59 had tears in his eyes. He told 61 the very definition of being prime is that he was a number that only his heart could divide. She said she felt the same way, and that maybe the movies were half true, but that was just a sample. When it came to true love, they were a prime example. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lily Cornell, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Charm by Karen Leanna Anderson. Am I plastic enough? Did I mold to the right shape? Obedient as water. Feel hot, cool, smooth to the touch. Was I flexible? Was I blue, green, and when dirty, just need a slick of soap? And then, did I hold you in and repel all else? Could I take it? Heat, cold, frozen, molten. Could I cover it up? Could I wrap myself around what you wanted kept, invisible almost, clear as ice? Could I stretch and not crack? And when I broke, could I break down to powder, to glitter, to nothing, you hope, to lace fish or bird or whatever else except your flesh? Could I stay away from you when told, get out of your face? Was I buoyant? Was I suddenly everywhere? Could I then be recalled, remade? The strange, clear metal of myself comes back together in another, fresher shape. If not, could I just end? If not, could I teach you how to bend, to escape, to float? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Henry Lawrence, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is What Was Poetry? By John Cothey. No one really knew, though everyone knew what it should be. And now, it's just a way of being famous, on a small scale. It was supposed to be significant for its own sake, though that was never entirely true. Human feelings got in the way. For a while, it was possible to remain unmoved in the face of all that language. No one really wanted to. They wanted to talk about it, to explain what it had let them see, as though the world were incomplete, before poetry filled it in. And now, there's nothing left to see. Oh, poems come and go, and everyone complains about them. But where there used to be arguments, there's just appreciation and indifference, measured praise that's followed by forgetting. I'm as bad as anyone. Instead of reading, I reread. Instead of seeing, I remember. And instead of letting silence have its say, I fill it up with talk, as if the last word might be anything else. And yet, despite all this, it matters. Sometimes, in the midst of this long preparation for death, that initial solitude returns, and the world seems actual and alive as it assumes its opposite. I think the truest thoughts are always second thoughts. But who am I kidding, other than myself? I hope there's someone that it casts its spell beyond the small cone of light hovering over my desk, and that what started out one night so long ago in silence doesn't end that way. I fantasize I can hear it somewhere in the realm of possibility, but only now and then, in intervals between breaths. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Harder, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Vegetarian Physics by David Chewell. The tofu that's shown up overnight in this house is frightening. Proof of the law of conservation. Matter that cannot be created or destroyed. Matter older than Newton. Who knew better than to taste it? Older than Lao Tzu. Who thought about it, but finally chose harmonious non-interference. I'd like to be philosophical too, see it as some kind of pale, incrucible wisdom among the dogs, the cold chicken, the leftover deviled eggs. But I'm talking curdled soybean milk, and I don't have that kind of energy. I'd rather not be part of the precariously metaphorical wedding of modern physics and the ancient Eastern mysteries. But still, whoever stashed that tofu in my Frigidaire had better come back for it soon. I'm not Einstein, but I'm smart enough to know a bad idea when I see it. Taking up space, biding its time, like so much that demands our imperfect attention, amid the particle roar of the world, going nowhere, fast. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Caitlin Sannett, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty, like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, in all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to the tender light heaven's gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, half impaired to the nameless grace which raves in every raven's tree, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure and how dear their dwelling place. And o'er that brow and o'er that cheek, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, with a smile that wins and a tint that glows, but tale of days and goodness spent, with a mind at peace with all below, and a heart whose love is innocent. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Becker, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Poems by Nikki Grimes. I'm hardly ever able to sort through my memories and come away whole or untroubled. It is difficult to sift through the stones, the weighty moments and know which is rare gem, which is raw coal, which is worthless shale or slate. So, one by one, I drag them across the page, and when one cuts into the white and leaves a trail of blood, no matter how narrow the stream, then I know I've found the real thing, the diamond, one of the priceless gems my pain produced. There, I say, a memory worth keeping. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tosh Frushire, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Mount Kearsarge Shines by Donald Hall. Mount Kearsarge shines with ice. From hemlock branches, snow slides onto snow. No stream, creek, or river bulges but remains still. Tonight, we carry armloads of logs from woodshed to Glenwood to build up the fire that keeps the coldest nights outside our windows. Sit by the wood stove, Camilla, while I bring glasses of white, and we'll talk, passing the time, about weather, without pretending that we can alter it. Storms stop when they stop, no sooner, leaving the birches glossy with ice and bent glittering to the limy ground. We'll avoid the programmed weatherman, grinning from the box, cheerful with tempest, and take the day as it comes, one day at a time, the way everyone says. These hours are the best because we hold them close in our luxurious nation. Soon we'll walk, when days turn fair and frost days off, over old roads, listening for peepers as spring comes on, never to miss the day's opportunities of pleasure for the government of two. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Veronica Schmid, and the poem I'll be reciting for you today is Through the Window of the All-Night Restaurant by Nicholas Christopher. Across from the gas station, a bus stops every 10 minutes under the blue streetlight and discharges a single passenger, never more than one. A one-armed man with a cane, a girl in red leather, and a security guard carrying his lunchbox. They step into the light, looked left, then right, and disappeared. Otherwise, the street was empty, the wind off the river gusting paper and leaves. Until the payphone near the bus stop started ringing. For 5 minutes it rang until another bus pulled in, and a couple stepped off, their hats pulled down low. The man walked up the street, but the woman hesitated and answered the phone. She stood frozen with the receiver to her ear. The man came back for her, but she waved him away, and at that same moment, her hat blew off and skidded down the street. The man walked after it, holding his own hat, and the woman began talking into the phone, and she kept talking, the wind tossing her hair wildly. And the man never returned, and no more buses came after that. Thank you.
Hello and good morning. My name is Quinn Crimmins, and I will be reciting The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig in the slivy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the bonogroves, and momraths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the fruminous bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tumtum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in umfish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes aflame, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through, the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frowjuste, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig in the slivy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy with the bonogroves, and momraths outgrabe. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Emmy Liu, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is I Have a Time Machine by Brenda Shaughnessy. I have a time machine, but unfortunately, it can only travel into the future at a rate of 1 second per second, which seems slow to the physicists and to the grant committees, and even to me. But I managed to get there time after time, to the next moment and to the next. Thing is, I can't turn it off. I just keep zipping ahead. Well, not zipping. And if I try to get out of this time machine, open the latch, I'll fall into space,
unconscious, then desiccated. And I'm pretty sure I'm afraid of that. So I stay inside. There's a window, though. It shows the past. It's like a television or a fish tank, but it's never live. It's always over. The fish swim in backward circles. Sometimes it's like a rearview mirror, another chance to see what I'm leaving behind. And sometimes, like blackout, all that time wasted sleeping. Myself, age 8, whole head burnt with embarrassment at having lost a library book. Myself, lurking in a candled corner, expecting to be found charming. Me, holding a rose, though I want to put it down so I can smoke. Me, exploding at my mother, who explodes at me because of the explosion of some dark star struck hard at mother's mother. I turn away from the window, anticipating a blow. I thought I'd find myself an old woman by now, traveling so light in time. But I haven't gotten far at all. Strange to not be able to pick up at the pace I'd like. The past is so horribly fast. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Nora Morris, and today I will be reciting Who Will Tell Them by Michael Sims. It turns out you can kill the earth, crack it open like an egg. It turns out you can murder the seas, poison your own children without even thinking about it. Goodbye, pastor pigeon, once so numerous men threw nets over trees and fed you to pigs. Goodbye, cuckoo bird, who lays eggs in the nests of strangers. Goodbye, elephant bird, who frightened Sinbad. Goodbye, widgeon, curlew, lapwing, crake. Goodbye, masquerade coot. Sorry we never had a chance to meet. Who knew you could wipe out everything? Who knew you could crack the earth open like an egg? Who knew the endless ocean was so small? Right now, there are children playing on the shores. There are children laying in hospital beds. There are children trusting us. Who will tell them what we've done? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Vivian File, and the poem that I will be reciting today is This is Honey by Mahogany L. Brown. There is no room on this planet for anything less than a miracle. We gather here today to revel in the rebellion of a silent tongue. Praise our hands and throats and cherish the sun, each incantation a jubilee of people dreaming wildly. Despite the dirt beneath our feet and the sun pushing against our greatest efforts, soil creates things, art births change. This is the honey, and doesn't it taste like a promise? Where your heart is an accordion and our laughter a soundtrack. Friend, dance to this good song. Hear how it holds our names.
Oh, look at the gods dancing as the rain rains against a steely skyline, where grandparents sit on the porch and nod at the spectacle in awe of the perfection of their grandchildren's faces, each small discovery unearthed in its own outpour. Our daughters will travel the world with each poem, and our sons will design cities in the backdrops of living museums. Yes, our children will spin chalk until each equation bursts a familiar tree, rooted in miraculous possibilities and alive. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Lee, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Protest by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. To sin by silence when we should protest makes cowards out of men. Human race has climbed on protest. Has no voice been raised against injustice, ignorance, and lust? The Inquisition yet would serve the law, and guillotines decide our least disputes. The few who dare must speak, and speak again, to right the wrongs of many. Speech, thank God! No vested power in this great day and land can gag or throttle. Press and voice may cry loud disapproval against existing ills. They may criticize oppression and condemn the lawlessness of wealth-protecting laws that let children and childbearers toil to purchase ease for idle millionaires. Therefore, I do protest against the boast of independence in this mighty land. Call no chain strong which holds one rusted link. Call no land free which holds one fettered slave. Until the manacled slim wrists of babes are loosed to toss in childish sport and glee. Until the mother bears no burden, save the precious one beneath her heart. Until God's soil is rescued from the clutch of greed and returned to labor, let no man call this the land of freedom. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Luke Reach, and the poem I will be reciting for you today is Numbers by Mary Cornish. I like the generosity of numbers. The way, for example, they are willing to count anything or anyone. 2 pickles, 1 door to the room, 8 dancers dressed as swans. I like the domesticity of addition. Add 2 cups of milk and stir. The sense of plenty, 6 plums on the ground, 3 more falling from the tree. And multiplication school of fish times fish whose silver bodies breed beneath the shadow of a boat. Even subtraction is never loss, just addition somewhere else. 5 sparrows take away 2, the 2 in someone else's garden now. There's an amplitude to long division, as it opens Chinese takeout box by paper box, inside each folded cookie a new fortune. And I never fail to be surprised by the gift of an odd remainder, but loose at the end. 47 divided by 11 equals 4 with 3 remaining. 3 boys beyond their mother's call, 2 Italians off to the sea, 1 sock that isn't anywhere you look. Thank you.
It's always so much fun to discover new poems. I'm sure everyone has. When the students rehearsing each other often learn much more than their own poem. They learn their friends' poems and their classmates' poems. 6th grade, that was terrific. Congratulations to the teachers for that. Will we just stand 6th grade so we can congratulate them? Certainly everyone's a winner for having the courage to do that, and I think the parents know which of you comes to a stage more comfortably and which of you it's a real effort to show the bravery to be up there and deliver. So you really all champions that way. Judges, that's not easy what you've just done now for us for an hour and a half, and thank you so much. Tradition as well, and so 5th and 6th graders should feel free to thank the judges afterward. We're not racing right out. I'm looking at Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Wainio and Ms. Kelly, Ms. Ballo. What's the plan? Take about a 20 snack recess. 5th grade. And what we'll do is Mrs. McGrady, thank you for tabulating everything. Whoa. Results will be announced tomorrow, 7th, 8th grade go, and then we'll announce all the results and who's going to perform as finalists a week from this Friday. But everybody, you're all champions, and thank you for that courage.